Well, morning. We are going to try to understand why you shouldn't invest in the US stocks, why it's not worth it at all investing in the US stocks. By the end of this video, you try to understand, is it worth for you as yourself to be investing in the US stocks? Is it worth it for you? Is it good for you to be investing, and why you invest in the first place? We should try to understand. I'm not here to give you the best stocks to be investing in, but I'm trying to give you the best fundamental factors to understand why you shouldn't be investing in the US stocks in 2026, and why is it likely to be a bigger risk like many wouldn't expect it to be. We should try to understand, why are we not likely to be allocating ourselves to be investing in the US stocks? Should we prior think of something else? We should try to understand that, why are we putting ourselves into a risk of taking US stocks in 2026, and why we shouldn't. Well, let's stick on this video if you want to be investing in the US stock. Warren Buffett indicator indicates that the US market or the US stock market is overvalued by around at least 220% or 230%, and whereby it indicates that the markets should be at least be overvalued by 120%. That's being really highly overvalued. But if it's over 220%, that's almost 2,000 levels above, I would say, sea levels in one or the other. You should try to understand, why are you looking at such numbers? Because we don't just buy, you just don't wake up one early morning and think of like, I should be keeping my money into the US stock so that I avoid the growing inflation that's around today 3%. We should try to understand, why should one really do their levels to be investing into the US stock? Why should one really be allocating themselves into be investing into the US stocks one or the other? One of the biggest factors that we should try to understand is also, we should try to understand the high valuation that's concentrated in one area. The US stocks are highly valuated in one or the other, and there's an issue of being evaluated in one single area, especially, let's say, a few companies holding the biggest number. Over 500 billion US dollars are held in the stock companies, AI companies, where a lot of money is being injected, where the bigger expectations from these companies in when productivity comes out. However, for the last 2 years, we have been seeing stock market being injected with AI cash into the stock market, and returns are kind of really not well seen in one or the other. We should try to understand. Over 500 billion US dollars, I say that it's in a model being spent by AI companies. I'm gonna give you an example of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is likely to spend over 1.4 trillion US dollars in the next 8 years. That's on infrastructure and maybe their telecom, whatever, their insight, whatever they be using to construct the AI. But the biggest question, will it be worth it for the next 8 years? Regardless, you try to understand that OpenAI or some old man's company is not like a public company, or it doesn't have public shares on one or the other. It's still a private company. However, the way it's looking for funding and the way it's over funding everything is kind of intimidating. It's kind of being way scary. We should try to understand, this is a company that's also almost try to make a deal with Amazon to be selling off almost to be making a deal to be investing into it over 10 billion US dollars. And I'm speaking of companies that are highly overvalued with the stock market. The companies that are making the stock market to be really that overvalued. Stick on this video. I'm going to give another company that will be like Plantier. Plantier is an AI company. Well, it's also overvalued by almost at least 200% or 400%, with losses of almost 100x%. That's a lot of money with no return in one way. If you ask about the productivity side of these two companies, there's less to be said. Otherwise, ask people for more investment, more power, more money, and expect bigger returns. However, the bigger returns, are you ready to wait for the next 8 years? Are you ready to wait? That's why the biggest question should be, are you investing in the short term, or are you investing in the bigger term? If such companies are indicating such factors, you should try to understand. The biggest companies today holding almost the US stocks to be doing still slightly well when they're not indicating red in one or the other, and they're still just to be looking in their best condition, that would be NVIDIA. However, NVIDIA has one issue. NVIDIA is a company that has been buying, let's say, investments in shares in other companies, let's say like OpenAI, with the hopes in return that these companies will be buying their chips so that they can make a sale. NVIDIA doesn't have only that issue, but NVIDIA also has an issue of China. Well, NVIDIA lost since the political wars taking place between the US and China. We should try to understand that NVIDIA lost its share market in China to companies like Mothreads, which are also chip makers in China, and China that's likely to be heading to be using. This leaves a bigger dilemma because one of the biggest buyers of AI chips from NVIDIA was China. Almost 95% of the market was lost to more threads, Chinese companies that are, because today we are seeing a separation or a divorce between the US and the China, because these are companies these are two countries that are trying to create boundaries one or the other. You should understand that this one way, if you invest in the US stock markets, it's gonna hurting you if you're going in blindly. Regardless, I'm not stopping you from investing. Regardless, I'm not stopping you from not investing. However, the few reasons I'm trying to indicate to you are the factors that you should be looking at. My other factor should be coming onto this should be, well, the political structure of the US economy today. When we speak of the political structure of the US economy today, we should try to understand that the Trump administration or the tariff administration that's taking place, well, it has a lot of surprises on one or the other. Well, we saw a government shutdown one or the other that happened in the month of October, where we lost the data of inflation, we lost the data report of unemployment, we lost a lot of data in that month because of the war between the Republicans and Democrats. Never be surprised of such kind of surprises when you're still under the I'm not saying because of the Republicans or Democrats, but expect such challenges in politics. When politicians are kind of divided, has been so Moody also degrading the dollar from a triple A to a double A. That indicates a lot of factors that this is what they call a decline in the US economy. That means there will be a decline in the US stock markets. You should try to understand that whenever politicians are kind of divided, they have higher chances of interrupting the markets. This is how they interrupted markets of NVIDIA, because NVIDIA used to sell chips to China and it was wide open and nobody complained. However, when US stopped NVIDIA from selling chips to China actually closed fully, because as of today, NVIDIA is free to sell the H200 chips to China. However, China today is no longer taking in those chips. Imagine if you invested into such companies, well, you could find yourself in a trigger well. Regardless how NVIDIA has been performing well, it's finding itself in a backlash that it's losing the market for the China, the China market one or the other. It's finding itself in a backlash where it's losing a pathway where it will be profiting off more, because you have to understand that the biggest factor of the world today is China. And if China is backing off, who is NVIDIA going to be selling all those chips to? That's why today we are seeing it investing into other AI companies so that they could buy its own chips. Because if you look at the stock that NVIDIA is sitting on, trust me, it's over $20 billion that NVIDIA is sitting on. The stock that are nowhere to be sold to, that are just sitting that they're just waiting for customers, and those customers nowhere to be seen. And these are numbers that we're trying to bring out, because before you invest into stocks, understand why you're investing. Understand, are you investing in the short term? Understand, are you investing in the long term? Are you investing the money that you're ready to lose, or are you investing the money that you just want to buy a car or something? Or are you investing the money that you feel like, I cannot lose this money? Because that's why I come up and I say, you're either worth it or you're not. My other factor will be coming up about this. That should be the prediction of the stock market in 2026. Well, many analysts came out and said, like, investing in the US stock market in one or the other is kind of unpredictable. In one or the other, the future is kind of burden. Many predict it to be a flat potential. In one way, it could be a flat potential or a negative 2%. We are not here to speculate about markets. We are not here to speculate in one or the other. But the performance of the US stock market has kind of lowered in one or the other in 2025 than did in 2024. We should try to understand that all these factors are not here to support you. I'm not here from stopping you from investing into the US market, but just to alarm you, think that you should be looking at as a new investor, as you was likely to be investing in the long term or in the short term, or pick your shoes with an open eye, pick your shoes with the right way, how to understand why you're investing. You should pick everything, because all what I've been breaking down, these are all fundamental factors. We should try to understand, why are you investing? Is it worth it? Are you investing money that you're ready to lose? Because I don't want to see you in the next days you are living in the street. Otherwise, look for your own financial advisor to be advising you on how to invest your money and how to allocate your funds in the best way for the best portfolio and for a better future. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next night.